Look who it is, it's me. Me, Chris. Hello, yes.
And me, Dion.
There is no bagel today. There is no bagel.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, the bagel is not here. We shall strive on without him. And we're here. Why are we here? Why are we here?
I don't know. There's nothing significant happened this week, did it?
No, I mean it's only Friday. Nothing really happens on a Friday. I don't remember.
I think there's something we're missing. Is it like? I think it might have been a TV show of some sorts.
I don't know.
It's been really popular. It's broken some records. It's one of the highest budgeted shows, but I just can't recall the name.
I mean, Friends hasn't been running for a long time.
No, it hasn't. Game of Thrones ended in a spectacularly horrifying fashion for its fans.
The Walking Dead only has one season left, RIP, and it's going to be beautiful. But that's not for a while. I don't know.
Arrow isn't as highly rated as I make it out to be.
and Thomas the Tank Engine is a bit young for us.
And it's still going.
And it's still bloody going. So I can't work it out. It must be related somewhat to something that we're doing. Otherwise, we'd probably be on like GTA or something. Something Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's not the
Star
Clone
Wars
Wars.
Rebels?
No. It's not Rebels, although that's actually not that bad. It's not the Clone Wars because I would currently be in tears. Though I was in tears, actually, funny enough. But it was
well, it
live
must have
action.
something to do with the faction that we're playing as.
What other TV shows are there?
Wait, hang on a minute. The Mandalorian.
Good old Dinjarin. Forgot about
But
that.
outside of Cara Dune, what do they have to do with the rebels? That's what we're going to get into today.
Yes, that will all come up in due time. Questions will be answered. Brains will be unpuzzled. Success will be had.
But before we start, there's one thing I just want to say. R.I.P. to Jeremy Bulloch.
Oh, R.I.P. Jeremy Bulloch, the original Boba Fett actor.
But I do feel like Tamara Morrison would have done him proud.
Oh,
what he's done with the character since.
I would hope so. I mean, in my
especially
opinion,
if this episode kept up the badassery. Even though he's now got the dad bod.
Yeah. Let's not get bogged down with the bod of Tamuri.
Dads. The dad of
bod
bods.
of dads. The dad of bods.
Bod of dads. Wrong way round. Moving on.
Moving on, yes.
So, first thing, this episode blew my fucking mind.
It was fucking amazing, honestly. Absolutely incredible. The best season finales I've ever seen, pretty much. Top tier.
Yes. And I mean, the last season, the last few season finales I've watched, let's see. Arrow, that made me cry. Lucifer, I was like, why would you do that to me? What else was there?
I had the Walking Dead season 10 finale, which is highly anticipated because I had to wait the whole of like the first lockdown.
The Clone Wars.
Oh,
emotional. Rebels. What the fuck just happened? Even though that wasn't actually this year, but it was like one of the recent ones that I watched.
I had Rebels as well. That was actually not that bad. They're kind of confusing, but also pretty cool.
I was just thinking, what the fuck was going on? Why the fuck are there space eels? Hyperspace eels.
Hyperspace eels. With 12 penis... No, that's the wrong thing.
Yeah, you're thinking of some sort of portion of the internet that I tend to stay away from due to its strange nature.
Though rather funny, I'll admit.
But anyway, The Mandalorian.
Mandalorian
Season 2, Episode 8.
Absolutely amazing.
Now, I have a feeling this might be a bit of a longer one. Not even because it was an extra long episode, although I think it was longer than some of the previous episodes.
I think it might have been a little bit, yeah.
But I think it might just be me fanboying out a lot.
Maybe a little bit.
Ooh, Vader. Anyway, he's not a part of it today, so we start off this episode. Now, the one gripe I have with this episode... Yes, I know, a gripe with this episode. Sue me.
Damn you.
But, we start off, and the Slave One is chasing a Imperial shuttle. What the hell has happened to lead up to this point? I have no idea. But that is the only gripe I have. What led up to this? It feels like there was a bit of a jump from, you know, what's happened previously.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's not that big of a gripe.
Let's not get bogged down.
I feel like the previous episode, like, showed us enough of, like... It leads to the same thing, and in my opinion, it gave a little bit of development for Cara Dune, She-Hulk.
Yes.
So, Tamura Morrison, sounding badass as always. Lower your shields. Take down your transmitter and prepare for boarding. Or something like that. And then Cara Dune comes in, and... No, actually it's the Mando that comes in first. And, Dr. Pershing is on board.
Dr. Pershing. He's on the transport. The what are they called? Those Imperial shuttles. They have names.
The Lambda class shuttles.
Lambda class. That's the one.
I used to keep calling them Lambda class shuttles, and then I think there was
Lando
a brief
class.
period. Yeah, I called them Lando class for a short time as a child.
But yeah, it's one of those Imperial, the triangle pointy thingies. Yes.
But yes, so one of the pilots happens to know about who Cara Dune is. Even name drops Alderaan and how he was on the Death Star. And Cara Dune's like, which
one?
Like, you think you're funny? Oh, damn it. Lagging.
Oh no. Power on. Go. We do not
Okay,
stop.
so, yes, so she's like, he's like, very funny. How many people died on those stations? Destroying your planet is a small price to pay to
Salvation.
end terrorism or something like that. Sorry, the lag is,
I
really
can hear it
off-putting.
actually, yeah.
Every time we record.
Yeah, it was fine before, and as soon as we start, now we lag.
But yes, Mando also asks Dr. Pershing if the baby is still alive, and he's like, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm actually going to close the application so I can talk without my connection dying.
That's fine.
Because I don't
it's
even
okay.
know if you guys can hear me.
I can, so hopefully they can too.
Good,
We don't know
well,
for sure.
as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by lag. I was doing well as Luke Skywalker as well until it started lagging. But, yes, so, they take the shuttle, well, they take Pershing onto the, I believe they take him onto the slave one.
Yeah, he's on the slave one.
And, he's talking them, well, first Cara Dune's talking about how they don't have many people on there anymore, and actually no, it wasn't even Cara, I can't remember, someone was walking through it, and then the doctor's like, that's incorrect. And Cara Dune's like, oh, an objective opinion, which, by the way, doesn't exist. It being objective would mean that it's something that can be measured by a very specific list of things. So, for example, a steak.
The steak is tasty.
You have specific criteria on what a steak is like. So you have like well done, medium well, medium rare, rare, blue.
Oh yes,
then raw.
blue.
But that's very specific criteria for what it will be classed as. Movies, it's like subjective opinion because it's people's opinions. That's what an opinion is. It's subjective. Everyone has a different opinion, therefore it cannot be objective. Whereas our bodies all react to poison the same way. It's an objective fact. But anyway, so moving on. He's like, this is not a deception. There are... How many Dark Troopers was it? Like 40?
Yes. I'd have to rewatch it to know for sure. I think that sounds about right.
Something along those lines.
Mm.
And they're like, where are they stored? And a few people were complaining about the fact that they were kept in the cargo bay, or at their own separate cargo bay. But when you think about it, because they are robots, it makes a lot of sense for them to be kept there. Because they can be deployed very quickly in any situation.
Mm.
You're in a space battle, deploy them, they can go take the ship. You're doing a search and recovery mission, like in episode 6. There you go. Perfect. They can just be launched nice and easy. Yeah. Obviously it has the long startup time, which is actually a good way to add tension in this case.
Mm.
But, yeah, so they realise that the brig is just beyond that, so Bo-Katan, Cara Dune, and
Fennec and Sasha Banks' character. All 4 of them go.
Yeah, they all go together to create a distraction going towards the bridge. Now, there was somebody that I saw online who was complaining that it's the Whammon attacks, and I'm like, well, they are good characters. Give me a minute.
They are actually well done characters, so they're okay because they're not used literally just to shit on others. They're actually very well made characters and they're likable, so it's actually completely fine. It's no different than any other character doing the attack. Really, it's completely the same.
Exactly. You could have replaced any of them with Boba Fett, and I think the only problem I had was Fennec and Cara led the charge with no armor. I mean, I know the stormtroopers can't hit the side of a bantha, but come on. You've got 4 people.
Right, so Bo, Sasha Banks' character, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. I would name her, but I just can't remember, I'm sorry. Cara Dune and Fennec, they go off, they're pushing through the cruiser, heading towards the bridge. Yeah, the bridge, because they're expecting Gideon to maybe be there. Alright, so they're pushing through there, kicking ass here, there, and everywhere, yeeting stormtroopers all over the place. Cara Dune literally is just like her gun gets jammed, so she goes full like fisticuffs on them and starts throwing people everywhere. Literally, it looked fucking cool. That's why we say She-Hulk, because she's an absolute badass. Like, she's ex-UFC fighter, she knows her stuff, and she's a tank. Like, that was very satisfying to watch. So they're pushing through that. They get stuck a little bit. They're stuck on a bridge, and then Cara Dune and Fennec get surrounded. But because they've got 2 Mandalorians with her, Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks, they come yeeting up the sides with their jetpacks off the edge of the bridge like they were hanging from below, and they just light them all up like a Christmas tree. Fitting for the time of year as well, being Christmas almost. It looks so good. And while this is going on, like, they've crashed the lander shuttle in like the hangar bay, and then after all the smoke's clearing, then Mando uses the cover of the smoke and all their distraction to then make his own way through. And he's heading for the detention level. While he's going through, he's passing the hangar storage unit where the Dark Trooper's been kept. And he's got Dr. Pershing's little like Cody stick thing that he puts into the that he's going to put into the console, like yeet them out the airlock, so then they can't come because they need like I think it's like 3 minutes to come online because they draw too much power, so they can't always be on. So they keep them off in cold storage, and then when they need it, they're then fired up. And so, yeah, and just as he's passing there, they start coming online. So he's running to shut the door, and you think they're just about to be shut out. But then one of them actually pulls open the door, and he's like, you are not running away from me, my boy. So, hello. And so he ends up fighting that one, while all the others are literally punching their way through the door. As we learn, they're Phase 3 Dark Troopers, so there's no more people. Crap. There's no more people within them. It's just droid works. Dr. Pershing says that their last fault or weakness was the fact that there were people involved, and they got rid of that into turning into the Phase 3s and turning them into just droids. Let me tell you, these things are absolute tanks. They're tall, they're imposing, they're strong, and they can take a beating. Like, the dude's using the fucking whistling birds on me, shooting it, nothing. It's just like, it just laughs it off, basically. Obviously, droids don't laugh, but you know what I mean. It just shrugs it off. It's just nothing to it. And then literally gets picked up and his head starts getting pounded into the wall in his helmet. And he's just getting pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded. And he tries using his flamethrower on it. The flamethrowers come out through it, just kind of glows like a jack-o'-lantern, like a pumpkin. And it's just like, what is this? This is a little bit warm here, what is this? And it just yeets him across the corridor. He pulls out his Beskar spear and just like stabs it in the neck, basically rips the head off. And that's what kills it. You basically got to, like a zombie, get rid of the head, if you will. And then it dies. And then, while the others are still pounding, trying to get through the door, he uses Dr. Pershing's Cody stick thing, does it, pulls a lever, sends them out into the airlock. They're gone for now, you know, they're gone. They're dealt with. He's like, done, let's go. So he's moving through. I think at this point we then cut back to the Bo-Katan, Sasha Banks, Cara Dune and Fennec. And they've made it to the bridge. They are, you know, they're taking names, you know, bang, 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 bang. Killing everyone, cleared the bridge. They're like, alright, it's ours. Gideon ain't here, is he? So Mando is running through the corridors, get to the detention level, opens the door to Grogu's cell, and there is Moff Gideon. Grogu's sat up, still in baby binders. You know, you're pretty evil if you've got handcuffs for a baby. And there's Moff Gideon stood next to him with the darksaber ignited, just like, I knew you'd be coming. And he literally recites basically everything that happened on their attack. Like, who Bo-Katan, she was here, he knew she was coming for the darksaber. She knew exactly where they were, or he knew exactly where they were, named it. It's like, yeah, they're probably now panicking because I'm not there. And they don't know what to do. And like, he's basically just, as if like trying to play with Mando's mind. He's like, you know, they're actually just so aggressive, they're mindless attackers, they don't care. They just want this, sort of, because with the darksaber it wields power. And he's like, and Mando's just like, I don't care about the darksaber, I just want the kid. And Moff Gideon actually comes across quite nice. He's like, all I just wanted to do was do some tests. I just wanted to learn about him, because he's very powerful, he's very strong with the Force, and basically is what he says. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to give him to you. And he disignites he turns off the darksaber, he stands to the side and lets Mando walk up to the kid, and just as he goes to pick up Grogu, he just reignites it, yeet, swings at his jetpack, but it's Beskar, so it doesn't actually break. It just takes a hit, and then Mando is basically using his gauntlet bits to just deflect all the hits. They're about in the corridor, they're fighting. And he pulls out the Beskar spear and he just starts, you know, they just start dueling in the corridor, and it looks pretty cool, to be honest. It does look pretty cool. And you can actually see how, obviously, Beskar is resistant to like lightsabers, but it's not entirely. Like, it will eventually heat up and will eventually like melt and break. And you can see that as they're like holding clashes, you know, darksaber to Beskar spear, you actually see the metal where the darksaber is on the Beskar heating up, as if like, you know, it's gonna go at some point. And so, you know, Mando keeps moving, keeps attacking and defending at the same time, counter-attacking, parrying and all that business. I don't know my dueling terms enough, I'm just kind of making stuff up as I go. It sounds about right though. And then I can't exactly remember what he did, but he basically smacks like the darksaber out of Moff Gideon's hand, and it slides across the corridor and like turns it off. And then he smacks Moff Gideon in the face and knocks him to the floor. But he doesn't kill him. He keeps Moff Gideon alive. I can't remember what the reasoning was though, but he keeps him alive. He says something, but I can't remember what he said. And so, yeah, he's like, yeah, you're staying alive for now. He takes the darksaber, and next we see we're back on the bridge with, you know, Bo-Katan, Sasha Banks, Cara Dune, and Fennec. And And then we're seeing. I think we're looking at Bo-Katan's looking at Bo-Katan. She's looking out the front window, and we're looking at her from the window basically. And you can see the bridge doors behind, and they open, and you see Mando walking Moff Gideon in as a prisoner with the Darksaber ignited. And Bo-Katan, they come off a bit shocked, like, you didn't kill him, you've got that though. And as it turns out, that actually Moff Gideon says, basically as a tease, and to, like, even though he's lost in a way, he can still take the piss. He's like, yeah, but, you know, it holds power, but it's the way you earn it, and, like, what gives you the right to use it is what gives you the power. It's because what Mando won in a trial by combat, but obviously he wasn't there for that. He was there to help Bo-Katan get it, but he wasn't there for the Darksaber. Bo-Katan was, but now technically he is the rightful holder of it. So, and he's just like, yeah, but if you give it to her, she's like a fake. She hasn't actually earned it. And he's like, oh, come on. He's just like, alright, I yield. He just goes to give it to her. It's actually quite funny. It's because he doesn't understand the way. That's the way of Mandalorians that he doesn't know. Or he doesn't understand, or he doesn't care for. It's one of the way. He doesn't, it's like he doesn't know that way exists of how you get it, sort of thing. And so they're kind of like, they're kind of thinking, right, what do we do? Because we've done what we wanted, but I when I was watching that bit, I was kind of nervous Bo-Katan was actually just going to start wailing on him, like not out of hatred, but just out of this like in essence that they wouldn't want to fight, but it's kind of like what they need to do so she can then have the Darksaber, because he didn't want it, she did, but now he's got it, and he's like, I don't want this, but I can't. Obviously, he's not going to disrespect the way. Because even if it is a different way of being a Mandalorian that he knows of, he's not going to disrespect it. And as that's going on, I think it's Fennec or Sasha Banks' character. It's like, oh, we got inbound. There's an alarm going off. It's like, okay, how many life forms? None. Dark Troopers have Iron Manned their way back up to the ship, and I say Iron Man in the terms of how they fly. I remember in the episode we first saw them, was it episode 6 for this season? I always thought they flew a bit like Iron Man. So I call them, they fly back up like Iron Man. There's a whole horde of them coming up. And they're like, right, what do we do? And Moff Gideon's like, oh, there's at least 40 here, and you struggled with one. Basically saying, you guys don't stand a chance. And so they're like, right, okay. And, you know, these things are lining up the whole cruiser, basically. Each and every corridor and area, there's at least like 4 of them all about the place. And in that corridor to the bridge where they've shut the blast doors, there's 10, maybe? Then the front 2 start wailing on that front door. And they're like, right, they're all readying for a fight. Like, they know they're going to come, they know it's happening, sort of thing. And then so they're like, right, panicking, what do we do? And so they're kind of nervous about what to do. And then another signal comes up. And Fennec is just like, oh, what's this? And then it flies past the windows of the bridge, and Cara Dune's like, 1 X-Wing. Ha! We're saved! As in like a sarcastic sort of way, like, oh yes, we're saved. Hooray! 1 X-Wing. And then this is where it gets fun. So they're still ready for the Dark Troopers. They're like, okay, they're still coming. And this X-Wing arrives. And like, oh, what's this? It's just a guy got out, he's wearing a cloak. So they're ready, and then they're watching on the security cameras as this X-Wing pilot is walking through. Dude ignites a lightsaber. And they're like, what's going on? They're kind of confused. They weren't expecting this. They were, you know, they're like, who is this one guy? And he just starts ripping these Dark Troopers to pieces with his lightsaber. Just starts going absolute ham on them. And then I think you can all see where this is going, but I'm going to go with it. Starts slashing and slashing and slashing and slashing, working his way through all the Dark Troopers, not taking a hit. And getting there, he's getting there, boom. And then on one of the security cameras where there's an elevator to come up to the bridge, Dude goes in and Grogu's like crawls up to the screen, just puts his hand on it, and they're like, "It's a Jedi after all. It's a Jedi for Grogu. Someone has answered." And then he comes up in that top corridor, and it's, imagine like Vader's corridor scene from Rogue One, but like more, but like, you know, with Dark Troopers and a Jedi instead of a Dark Lord of the Sith and Rebels, but the same similar sort of thing. You get a similar sort of vibe, but though it's not a complete copy. And he gets up and he uses the Force to crush the final Dark Trooper in his path. And then Mando's like, "Open the blast doors." And they hesitate for a moment. It's like, "Oh, you heard me, open the blast doors." And they open it. Green lightsaber, walks in, turns it off, pulls down his hood. It's Luke bloody Skywalker. It was... I was ecstatic. I was both crying and cheering when I was watching it, basically. I was a mixture of emotions. I was all over the place. My head was everywhere. I was just like, this is amazing. Holy crap. And then it's like, Mando's like, "Are you a Jedi?" It's like, "I am." It doesn't say much, but it was actually Mark Hamill actually did it. They just did like the similar deviation things that they did with like Carrie Fisher in Rogue One and Peter Cushing. Oh, just as Luke said. And you know, yes, we need R2. And so Mando has his final goodbye with Grogu. You know, he holds him. He takes off his helmet for him. Grogu touches him in the face, which was a really touching moment. I know, pun, but it was a really touching moment. It was so sweet. And he's basically Mando's basically crying at this point. And he puts him down on the floor. Basically tells Grogu that it's okay to go to Luke. And as he's going, bloody R2-D2 appears. And I fully cried, because as much as R2 doesn't say, well, it obviously speaks, but not in words, like in beeps. He doesn't, not a force user, he's not anything. He's been there throughout. It was so touching seeing R2. R2's the real MVP. It was honestly beautiful. And he gives off his last goodbyes, and they walk back down the corridor into the elevator and off they go. Oh. I mean, you don't really see much of the other people in that scene. But it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You don't see anything else of them for the rest of the episode, I think that's it. It kind of cuts off there and you get the credits. And that's it. And there's a reason I'm talking about the credits, because there's a post-credit scene. Like, you know, the MCU films. I don't believe there's ever been one for this series before. I don't think. There was for the end of this episode. And you get Jabba's palace on, you know, the stairway, like where you see Luke come down and Lando with Chewie, all that. Jabba's like throne room area thingy. And there's the thing to the Rancor pit. But it's Bib Fortuna on the chair now. But like Jabba's like right hand man person, the beige Twi'lek dude. It's him. Now he's on the throne. I guess he took it after Jabba died. But yeah. And now he's fat, which I found quite funny. I didn't really understand why, but I found it quite funny. And he's there. And you hear some gunshots coming from up the stairs, and you see from the shadows it's Fennec making her way down. And we're like, okay, Fennec, right. And then you see the shadow of Boba Fett. And you're like, oh. Okay, this is interesting. And Boba comes down, and Bib Fortuna's like, oh, Boba, oh. Surprise. We thought you were dead. Oh, I'm sorry. And Boba just up and shoots him. He don't care. He just shoots him. Rolls him off the throne. Sits on it. And it's like, oh. And then the screen goes black, and it's The Book of Boba Fett. December 20th, 2021. So pretty much like this time next year, we're getting a Boba Fett thing. Whether it's I don't think it's going to be an actual book. I think it's definitely like a mini-series or something like that. It's not going to be as big as like the Clone Wars or this series has been so far. I know obviously this series is only 2 seasons in, but you know what I mean. I think they're going to do more with this. But it's coming. A Boba Fett thing. is confirmed. And that's amazing. That is genuinely amazing to know. And so that's pretty much a rundown of the episode, if you will. It was absolutely beautiful. It was an amazing episode. Hands down, one of the best season finales I've ever watched. Hands down. I was very satisfied with how it went, if I'm honest. Very happy with how it went. I don't think they could have done much better. Like, I don't want that to be the end of Moff Gideon. I thought he was amazing. Honestly, even if he wasn't necessarily on screen all that much. He had a presence. He made himself known. That was the wrong button. And honestly, this was an amazing. I'm not lost for words because I'm confused or I don't know what to say. Like, it wasn't interesting. I'm lost for words because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it completely. This was genuinely an absolutely amazing episode, an amazing season finale, and I'm gonna be watching this again multiple times, I think. It's just that good, honestly. Mind-blowingly good. And even, like, this just proves that despite how other products have been, what with the new ownership over these past years and what's been made, like with the sequels and the standalones and the other TV series, this proves that good things can come. Yes, there have been some absolutely awful things produced in this time, but this is just proof that things can also be done right. Like, it was amazing. If they just stuck to series, like Disney, if they just stuck to series, I would not complain at all. Like, the series on the whole have been amazing. Clone Wars, especially season 7, absolutely beautiful. Rebels, I gave it flack before even watching it. I watched it, I was like, yo, this isn't as good as the Clone Wars, but this is damn good. Mandalorian, amazing. Like, no way about it. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like, this... Even Lamar, the bagel, even if he's not here, he messaged us and he said there's, like, he put on his Snapchat story, it's one of the best season finales ever. And he's not, obviously he enjoys Star Wars and he plays this with us, but he's not as big as I am, and I'm not as big as Dion is. Like, I know the films, that's about it, and some of the Lego games and that's about it. Dion knows, between the three of us, he's the font of knowledge. He isn't necessarily a font of knowledge, but between the three of us, he is. Lamar's like the relaxed view, I guess you could say. The one who, they're not like in on the lore and in on the universe, but they're there because they enjoy it, and it's good. And he said it was one of the best things he's ever seen in terms of season finales. It was absolutely amazing. I'll say this. This isn't really to the end of the video, but at the end of this piece at least. If you know anyone who necessarily hasn't, not like, ooh, I hate Star Wars, but they've never watched it, they can watch this show. There will be things that they won't understand, like Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, the Revenants of the Dark Side, who the Mandalorians are, Grogu, people, I'm sure everyone knows of the Force, even if they haven't watched Star Wars. Like, it's pop culture, that sort of thing. Like Darth Vader. You don't have to know Star Wars to know who Darth Vader is. You just look at it and there you go. You know who it is. But this show, you don't necessarily have to be that much of an avid fan to understand. Like, you may not understand everything, but you can watch it, you will understand things as they come up, and you will enjoy it, 100%. The Mandalorian has been amazing. Props to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and all the directors involved. They have respected the current set lore, respected the fans, and built upon it at the same time and made something new. All while keeping things true to what people know and love. Not trying to mix something new and just throwing things in people's faces like, this doesn't matter, it's our thing, we can do what we want. They've done an amazing job, and I'm very happy with the fact that they have as much control as they do. They've done so well. I can't I want I want more. I want season 3 already, and I've got to be patient and wait. But it was so good. But obviously we got to wait. Season 3, I'm pretty sure is coming. We might not get as much Grogu, obviously, because he's gone off with Luke. Though I think we will see things here and there. Maybe a little thing at the beginning of season 3 of just like, you know, he's not just going to be like, okay, he's done, bye, sort of thing. Like, there will be hints of him, and he will not be forgotten per se. Not like he's dead, but you know what I mean. But I think obviously season 3 they're going to have to move away from him, because obviously it's not the Grogu show, it's the Mandalorian. But I think things will be okay. Things will be okay. They know what they're doing. Filoni and Favreau. They're people you can trust. And I think as long as they keep things as like keep doing what they've done, but not like just like the Mandalorian, but in how they've made things, with making something new while respecting what's already current and everything. Star Wars has a good future. There are some things that maybe they shouldn't do. Like, maybe not touch the main saga again. That was not a good idea. But there is a bright future. Now, I know I'm not great in my solo talks, but I'll do what I can. And now obviously we've got to talk about what do we think can happen next. Season 3, for example. And maybe shows that can tie in and off of this. Let's see. So you got obviously what will happen with Mando next. I think they're not just going to forget about the whole dealings with the Darksaber and freeing Mandalore. I think there'll be some sort of notion of that. Maybe like a little arc in the series of going back to Mandalore to help Bo-Katan retake it and get it clean. Maybe. I wouldn't be down against seeing. I think that I would rather see Bo-Katan wield the Darksaber than Mando. And I say that because that's not what he wanted. That wasn't what he was planning on doing. And she was, and obviously, you know, so she's going to have to get it from him somehow. So maybe they will do a trial by combat and they're actually going to go full on. Maybe they will. And maybe she'll earn it that way, and rightfully so. Which would be completely respectable. Though I don't think that's something they would do. I think I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Bo-Katan will get the Darksaber at some point, and I hope obviously they're not just going to be like, oh, and back behind the scenes they did this. I'll actually be visually shown that, you know, it was done properly the Mandalorian way. Because they're not. I don't think they're also going to do a, oh, we're just going to rewrite the way of Mandalorians. Oh, no, they're going to do it right. I trust the people in control. They're going to do it right. Well, Cara Dune will probably go back to Navarro. Obviously, I know she's Master of the Republic and she's really bent the rules, but what with arresting Moff Gideon, things can either go up or down for her. What the hell are you doing? Get out of there. I'd like to see more Grief Karga. We didn't see much of him this season. But I guess he had things to do. I wouldn't be against seeing Grief Karga again. Honestly, I wouldn't be against seeing more Bill Burr. Honestly. He isn't the main character, but he's a lot of fun. And Bill Burr's done a good job with Mayfeld. I also think there will be some episodes, or like little arcs in series or episodes, where we will probably see Boba and Fennec again. Maybe for like one-off things and whatnot, but we will probably see them again, I think. In what? I don't know. But definitely in something. Bruh. Who's left? I don't know. I don't really know who else could be left. And I feel like I need to make up more things to make more time. But I don't know what to say or do. Well, I do hope this was enjoyable. I do recommend watching the series if you haven't. Sticking by with us, because we're going to be putting up more after this, talking about other things that are coming up, other things that we're doing, things like that. Might be a little less active. I'm going to try to keep it up though, nonetheless. Something we're going to try doing. Pardon me. I don't do plugs usually, but I do have a solo channel of Chris F2612. I was being consistent for a while with uploads, and then I stopped because things weren't going anywhere, not so with the channel but with the games. I was playing the Avengers game, I enjoyed it, but it's not, unfortunately, it's not great. But it is what it is, but we'll try and keep things going. We'll probably see you next time for maybe some game talk about upcoming games, gameplay, theorising for the future with future shows, or within the shows like The Mandalorian, of like what's coming next, or the other shows like the Kenobi show, the Bad Batch show. I'm excited for that. That looks cool. Ahsoka. Ooh, things are looking good. I know Star Wars media, but I would also want to talk about things that are coming up in Marvel, like the Loki show. It looks bloody amazing. It looks so good. I'm excited for that. We finally get Owen Wilson in the MCU, which I'm very happy about as well. But yeah, if you liked what you enjoyed, consider liking, subscribing, put a comment. If you put hate, I don't mind. You can voice your opinion, that's perfectly fine. Just don't do it at the detriment of yourself or the people. But yeah, come back next time, same batshit channel, but same batshit.